Hello everybody, Wing Time here. Thanks for tuning in. Got a little product review video here. This is my KLR650 Kawasaki. And one of my first major additions to it was crash bars. And I'm going to give you a review on these Team Alba Racing crash bars. I knew when I got one of these bikes I was going to want to have crash bars installed because it's a tall bike. I've never really done any off-roading or anything like that or adventure biking, so I figured I was going to drop this thing and, don't want to mess up these really pretty plastics. So I was torn on which bars to buy. There's actually lots of choices out there. The aftermarket for these bikes is actually astonishing how much is out there, how many companies are making parts for these KLR650s. I mean, basically this bike hasn't been changed in design, major change in design since 1987. I was leaning towards the SW Racing bars, possibly Tusk. That seems to be another popular one. I have the Tusk Racing pannier mounts and Tusk, or not Tusk Racing, just Tusk panniers, and they're really good quality. The only downside I heard to the Tusk crash bars, and these are just, forums and so forth. A couple of guys are complaining they had vibration issues. Maybe some kind of a harmonic developed from the frame of the bike into the bars due to I think they only have a couple mounting points. So maybe it's just something about the shape of those bars that make it a harmonic. The SW Motec and these Team Alba Racing are very similar design. They mount in the same places basically. Have the same loop that comes up. The SW Motec, and a friend of mine has on his bike, they have a plate gusset between here and here, and another plate gusset here and here, which is real nice. But these have big pipe, another additional tube gusseting, making this really strong. Gives you a little more coverage, and same thing here. I never really heard of the Team Alba Racing until I was just poking around the internet and found these. So these gussets were kind of a selling factor, as was the price point. These were $164. SW Motecs and some of the other ones are well north of $200. Some are $400. There's Happy Trails, there's Dirt Track, there's a bunch of different ones. Anyway, I'll show how these are mounted. The quality of these things are really good. These are laser cut parts. Laser cut parts on this plate up here. And see that thing. The bolt holes lined right up perfectly. This clamp, it's a two-piece clamp back here. I was kind of wondering how well this was going to line up because that's going to be a tricky. They must have really good jigs to get these because these are just perfect. In fact, great. These two bolts up here behind those are rubber isolators, so keeps that vibration down on those. There's one big bolt hiding, if we can see it. There it is. Big bolt hiding up there with a spacer behind it. And it's just going into your existing bolt that holds on the rear subframe. And Team Alba has a decent video showing how to put these on. You put on the right side first. You take out only one of these bolts at a time. Of course, after you take off the fairings, the seat, and take off the back of the tank and lift it up, only take out one of these bolts at a time, otherwise the whole rear subframe will drop. So I did that. Took this one out, got that one back in, no problem. You got to these bolts goes all the way through and attach both sides. So you do one side, get the bolts through, go to the other side. So the other side I had the bolt in, not tight, but snug. And when I undid this bolt up here on this side, the rear frame did drop just a tiny bit. Not much, maybe not even a quarter of a hole worth, but enough that the bolt wasn't going to go back in. And not only did it go back, it went down. Well, this went from a one-man project to a three-man project to get this bolt in. I had to hold the bike level. Since there's no center stand, the bike leans over. And I found out later on that I've got a short kickstand because this bike used to have lowering links. But anyways, took three of us, me to hold the bike level, try to help pry things up. A friend of mine prying on it, my friend John prying on it with a pry bar. Nothing here to pry on, so we had to put a bar on the ground, or 2x4 on the ground to pry against, while my girlfriend put the bolt in. And we finally got it in. Once it was in, it was just a matter of lining these things up. It took a little while. Of course, I had to have these plastics off as well, the front plastics actually off as well, so you can lift the tank up. So that's time consuming. But my overall impression of these things, I'm getting kind of wordy here. My overall impression of these Team Alba Racing crash bars is awesome. I mean, they look fantastic. I like the satin powder coat finish. They're beefy looking. One of the beefiest ones that I've seen so far. They do not vibrate at all. No vibration, no harmonics going on there. So far, knock on wood, haven't dropped the bike on them yet. I think they'll be up to the task of protecting the fairings, radiator on the other side, the radiator tank here. I think it's going to protect the tank. There's no interference over here. And there's no real interference over here as well, but you do just kind of notice the bar. I do kind of feel it. But if I get a longer shifter, which I eventually will, it's not an issue really. It's just, okay, there's something there different that wasn't there before. But anyways, that is the Team Alba Racing KLR650 crash bars. I love them. I think for the price, they're a great bargain. I really just don't think you can beat it for the price, really. So, and the quality is fantastic, and they shipped them pretty quick. Came from California here. I don't think it was even a week. So, thanks for tuning in. Ride safe.